Okay, so now this is also done entirely on Procreate. So I'm going to have an exhibition next year, and all of my works, because
Sorry, Rose, you got your message is covering there's a message. This meeting is being recorded by the host. That message actually covered the screen, so I can't see what you're doing.
Oliver, you have to press, got it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you. Okay, so this is completely done on Procreate. So you've seen my traditional work. I work, really finely. And to do this in real life, I'll probably be, I've never tried it. I'd be too scared because I'm not an expressive painter. That's just me. I'm, really tidy. I like to get things really neat. Whereas Procreate enables me to just get really messy because I'm not wasting paint. That's probably the thing with me. I'm a bit tight with paint. So one day I'll try, but I'm going to have an exhibition, which, you could do something like this too. And all I'm going to do is I create my images on Procreate. I print that out on high quality, it's called Giclée, make a Giclée print on paper, frame it, and then hang it on the wall. So it looks like a painting, but it's not. It's a digital painting, but it still has my touch. It's still my hand that's made this painting. And like a photographer, I can sell that. So for instance, I can make an edition of a collection of all of my Procreate paintings. And photographers, for instance, they may have an edition of 5. So I hang one in the frame that people see, but there are 5 people that can buy this image because it's not a traditional painting. I can print it as long as I want, but to keep the value of it, I print it really large, like a real painting, and 5 editions, which means 5 copies of it, and sign it. So, you can go that way. But again, this is still very tight. It's in my style, but you can do this with abstract paintings, anything that you want. So, Procreate's amazing for that. And please, speak up if you have any questions or remember them or, speak to me later. I'm totally open with my business of how I, do all this. Now this is a real painting. So that's a real painting. But to get to that stage, I use Procreate in a different way. So I never used to do this years ago, whereas now I can do it. It's given me more opportunities. So I'm just gonna turn all these off. So how I work is, or how I used to work is I'd get models to pose for me. And again, my illness makes me really, really tired. So I thought, I'll try and create something like collage. So you can see I started, this is just something from the net that I found. You can't copy things from the net. It's against copyright. But you can take little bits from here and there and make it your own. So I'll show you what I did. So I found this image, stretched it, kind of changed it, turned it around. And then I had this idea and I looked through all these photos that I collected on the net and I had this image in my head and collated together. So this is like a collage, but I'm using Procreate to cut things up, resize and stick everywhere. So there's the elephant. So I couldn't use that whole elephant. I had to change it and modify it. Then I took its head off, took another head. I've recolored everything and made the ears bigger and things like that. So, I couldn't use this image on my own, even though I still had changed it because it's too close. So I really changed it. Put the head on it. So there it is. And that is what I painted from. Okay, then I drew that. Started painting it, so you can see I work in a lot of layers, so we'll go through that. I'll tell you, we can't do it in real life, but the thing is with Procreate, we'll use it in a real organic way. So we'll actually really paint using like layers, underlayers and glazes with Procreate. And then I got that in the end. Okay, so that's another way you can, create images that you want. Has anybody had experience with Photoshop? No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like Photoshop, but I think it's a lot more powerful. And I think, I'm not sure, but they have or they will make Procreate available on Mac or PC, so that you can do all this, but it's on, you know, your actual computer. So you have a lot more power than your iPad screen. I have enough power to do what I do on my iPad, so it doesn't really bother me. Same as this one. This is my daughter, and I don't live anywhere that looks like this. So I started off with an old painting of mine years ago when I did landscape, and I took a picture of her, and she's actually sitting on my chair, you know, against a blank wall, and I cut her out in Procreate. And again, doing the background and the top. So I fiddled a bit with different backgrounds. So this was the original. So that is just the original. And then I decided halfway through, this is too hard to paint. It's too hard to paint for me. So I ended up using this one, which is much more simpler, which you can see I've taken the top of that and this part down here. So painting all that green would be much easier. And I even have my Procreate screen next to me, and I can go in and look at all the detail. I can even select a color, and here's the color up here, and I can see where it lies on the color palette. So just say, well, yeah, I'm going to paint this. I know that this color is based on yellow, and it has, not yellow, orange, and it's kind of like a mid orange, but it's got a lot of darkness in it. It's not totally orange, it's kind of like a little bit darker. And I can press another button and see exactly where it's, you know, what color it is. So when I mix paint, I can cheat, because most of it is cheating. I've got all these ways to cheat, but it's still my hand, it's still my decision. It's still, you know, you have to make the choices to paint it that color. And yeah, that's all I have to show you there. So what this course is, because it's National Art School, we're not going to be focusing on, say, images like that. So I call that plastic painting. So it's where I try and make it look organic with all these fancy little marks, but that is, you know, completely Procreate. You see here where things are flat. I can paint that, and I have done doubles where I've painted things in watercolor, and then I've gone and just made them in Procreate just because it's easier to reproduce as a print. Because sometimes when you photograph your art, it's not as clean, colors are wrong, and so on. So we're going to focus more on the fine art aspect, where you're actually making art, organic art, fine art, rather than commercial art. But you'd still, you know, you'd still figure out how to make commercial art. But this is what I mean, the texture. We want lots of organic things that look real. So paint's got to look real. It's less plastic, as I can say. And how we'll do it, we've got 8 sessions. So this session's for about showing you what you can do, letting you have a play. But, you know, from next week will be intense using tools, and we'll be working on artworks together, and your own artworks as well, and pushing to see what we can use, because everybody wants to use Procreate in a different way. So there are thousands of tools, thousands of things that you can do, but I'm going to get that, you know, minimize that so we can really learn how to use the basic tools to get that, you know, fine art, organic effect. So there's things where you can do 3D art, animation. We won't be doing that stuff because this really is a course is designed to, you know, do that. We can do it if we have some time, but the focus is organic. So if we're going to do a Procreate painting that's in pastel, we're going to use the pastel digital tool like it's real life. So you'll be learning all these techniques of real life organic materials. And then you can say, oh, I actually really like that. I'm going to go buy some pastels and do it in real life. It'll be the same way we do it in real life as we do it on Procreate. So I think that's so much fun. So I'll get started. Before I do that, I'm just going to show you a couple of more. I'm going to show you this lady here. I'll send you links to all these at the end of the class. I don't know where this lady is in the world, but when I was setting up my website, I found her and she was so good because she had a really good website, and you know, she does the whole promotion of her work, and even her Procreate work is really well done. So she's a Procreate painter. So here she is. These are her works. And for today, what we're going to do is we're going to paint like her. We're going to copy her work so I can show you how easy this Procreate thing is to use. So she's different than me. She's an abstract, but she uses the same techniques. I think she also has a Instagram page where she, you actually see her do it. Let's see if I can find a page on here where you actually see a video. I think she's moved it. So you can see, here she is. She's painting on her Procreate. And I think they're lovely, her works. Like I wouldn't buy one because I say I can do that in 2 minutes, which will probably be the same for you too. But no, she's taken it off. But I'll just take you more. So shop prints. Let's just see most popular. And I've noticed she started painting. Oh, here we go. See this? This is Procreate. That scene was really good because that's what we're going to do. Look at that. But for anyone that's painted before, they're like, oh, there we go. Let's watch it again. So I'll just catch that first scene of her because that's new. And I thought, oh, that's something we can copy today. So look how expressive that is. And look, it looks like a real painting. So you could, you know, sell the painting and then sell the prints. Or you wouldn't even have to make the real painting. Okay, so any questions before we start? Okay, so let's get into Procreate. So when you open Procreate, you probably got the screen. So I'm going to speak, and if we could keep the mute on, but if you have a question, please unmute and ask it to me. So we have Procreate, and here I've got version 5.2.6. Okay, and I'm going to hit the cross at the top. And when you hit that cross, it should come up to your gallery page. This is the gallery page. It should say Procreate at the top, and any artwork that you've made down here, or artwork that has been loaded into the program. Okay, and we're going to start a new artwork. So we're going to go to the plus sign, click on it. And what this is showing you is previous work that I've made, but we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to go to the little black kind of folder looking thing here with the plus in it. I'm going to click on it, and we're going to create a new page. So just making sure everybody's okay on that. Okay, so we're going to create a page. Let's create here. What happens if you press it? Oh, it's just automatically created a page. So I'll just, again, just go to the plus button and it says create there. So how I was talking before is I don't want to waste anything I do here. And I can't waste anything because it's all digital. So I'm going to make an A3 page because I know I can print out an A3 page. I can definitely sell an A3 page. So that's the minimum that I create my canvases at. So see up here, it's width, height, etc.
Sorry, Rose. Sorry,
Yeah.
Rose. I already moved one page on. How do I get back to this page?
Oh, okay. So your page looks like this.
Yes.
Yeah. If you click gallery,
Right.
it comes
Yeah.
back to that screen.
Okay.
So I'll show you later how to delete these. And if you just want to go back again to the black box, and we'll specifically create the canvas
Got
for
it.
ourselves. Got it? Okay. So pixels, centimeters, I work in centimeters. So we're going to go to centimeters, click on that. And are you all using your pen? Just nod. Yep. Because you can use your fingers, but I just prefer to use my pen. Okay, so centimeters, and you can see up here it's changed. So the width of an A3 page is 29, no, it's almost 30. So 30 centimeters from this area here. And because this already has something like a pre-built something, I'm just gonna click on it and that should make it disappear. And you notice because, computer language, they have to have it exact. That 30 centimeters has turned into 29.997. Don't worry about that, it's close enough. But the height would be 42 centimeters because that's the height of an A3 page. And you'll see down here, it's got the DPI. So I think if you haven't used it too much, your DPI should be 300. But if this is the first time you're using Procreate, it may be blank. No, sorry. So if you've used Procreate before, you may have already changed it. But just clicking on it, if it's any other number, just put 300 DPI, which means the 300 DPI is the minimum of what you can print to make it as clear as you can on an A3 paper. And for those of you that know of Photoshop, the layers may sound familiar. Here, mine is 34. If you have a different number, that just means that it may be a different type of iPad that you have. So you may only have 5 layers. So mine has 34 layers because it's, a 32 gig, things like that. So all that technical stuff, I'm not sure, I don't do, my husband does that. But anything Procreate, I'm a whiz at. So that gives me 34 layers, and we'll learn about layers soon. So is that all? Oh yes. So this is the here we got dimensions. Here we have color profile. So we can click on profile and then you get this screen which is changed. So RGB means the color space for anything on a screen. So your iPad, TV, anything that's going to be viewed on a screen is going to be RGB. CMYK is kind of like a printing jargon for this is going to be printed on paper, the color profile for printing, actual printing. Just getting into printing a bit, it used to be CMYK that printers preferred if you were going to print anything. So it would be the CMY color space. I'll go into this much later on because it can get quite confusing. But for now, for us, we're going to keep it on RGB. So just make sure it's on RGB. And
sorry, Rose.
yeah,
For my dimensions, it's saying that it's too large to put on a 300 DPI. I don't know why.
what iPad do you have?
I have an iPad Pro.
iPad Pro. All right, it should be fine. I think I have an idea of what it's for. I'll just finish this up and I'll get back to you. So everybody should have theirs on display P3. This might be already there for all of you, but if you have anything else, just keep it on display 3 for the color profile. And once that's all done, we click on create. So I'm just gonna work with Fatima for a moment. So don't just hold whatever you're doing and disregard it. This is just for Fatima. So are you still on your screen?
Yeah, I'm still on the dimension screen.
Okay, this is a mistake I make all the time. So I'll ask you some questions. Does it say px or centimeters here?
Centimeters.
Centimeters. So
Yeah.
you've got the 30.
Yeah.
40. And the DP, oh, I'll just change that to centimeters. Okay, 30 by 40. 300. So down here, what does it say? 5.
It says the DPI was 132.
132. Can you put 300 in there? What does it say when it's 300?
Now it says maximum layers 58. Before it was saying too large. I don't know. Sorry.
No. I just did it myself when I made that mistake, because usually people click on centimeters, but it doesn't click, and you still have pixels here. So it could have been something simple like that, just to,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But so yours is okay now? You got 56. Okay. You got a really strong computer.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're back on this screen, and just like an iPhone, you can pinch it like that. You can turn it around, so it's landscape. So I've put my iPad in this orientation, the landscape, because it just works better, when you see it in your screen. So if you want to make your iPad landscape and have it, portrait. Okay, so I know some of you guys have used Procreate before, but here we start from the very, very beginning. So it might be tedious for you, but I got to get through it and show you all the tools. And again, these again are the most useful tools for doing fine art work with. The first tool, which is already blue, may not be blue, but if you can click on it. Okay, and we're just going to go to painting here. So those who have opened this up for the very first time, what you have here is like all of your categories. So imagine you've got a big chest of drawers, you got pencils, crayons, anything that you want. So these are all of the categories for all of those shelves that you have. So when I clicked on painting, I've got all these different brushes. So you can see I have a turpentine brush, I have a gouache brush, watercolor. Okay, so pick any one. I might pick just the round brush, just to be simple. And I can see up here, doesn't matter what color you have, yours might be totally different. We're not going to touch that yet. We're just going to grab a brush just by highlighting it, that blue. Does that work for everyone? Yeah. And now what we have here are sliders. So this top one here, let's slide it right to the top and press on.
Sorry, Rose, sorry.
Yeah.
I already clicked on that round brush, so it gave me a different screen. How do I go back?
Oh, It will go back automatically. So see when I click it.
I don't have that screen anymore. I click on I touch the round brush, and then it went
Oh,
to a brush
so this,
studio. It went
yeah,
to a
this,
brush studio screen.
so is your brush studio screen like mine here?
Yes, yes, correct.
Yeah. So this is something we'll deal with further along. But you've just accidentally, if you press done,
Yeah.
you've just accidentally pressed it again.
Okay. Yep. Got
Okay.
it. Done.
So
Yep,
you'll
thank
see
you.
if you double click, so if you get to that, just press done.
Yeah.
And automatically when you put your tap anywhere, it gets rid of this screen. So I'm going to go back and get the round brush. Yes.
Sorry, Rose, can I just interrupt? If I've already got something that's just popped up by accident, because I think I must have just pressed something, how do I delete that off my screen? So
we'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
If you make mistakes, that may, you know, or if you're waiting for something, it's usually going to come up in a minute. So don't worry, we're just working on this brush. Doesn't matter if you painted something else, that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, we're on the round brush and we've gone up to here. So this is the size of your brush. And that can go up and down. So we've made a mark with the larger size. And you'll notice that it's pressure sensitive. So I'm pressing hard and pressing light. Is that happening for everybody?
Mhm.
Yeah? Okay, because you should all have pressure sensitive pens if they're eye pens. And we can make that smaller. So see how it's just simple as changing here on the side. And you can see it's 100%, 2%. So have a fiddle with changing and feeling that pressure sensitive. And even there, look, I'm just playing around. Look at that, those lovely lines. So try and practice with that pressure sensitive. Doesn't matter if your screen is full, we'll erase it in a sec. But just, you know, that's a lovely artwork. I could print that and sell that. So just have some fun with that. So who here, is this the first time you're actually into Procreate, like doing? Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, good. So let me know if I'm going too fast. So this is the pace we're going to go at. And for those who've had experience, we will get into it a lot more. So it's just this lesson, you know, it's good because we're going to go over things you may know, but it will start to go a lot faster.
Rose, could I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Your pen at maximum is a lot fatter than my pen. So is that a setting somewhere?
It could be, because we've all got the same setting of a 42 centimeter by 30 centimeter page. The resolution is 300. It should be around the same. It could be that.
Yeah, my circle is a lot tighter. Like, so when you put your pen on, you've got like a larger like circle that comes up, whereas mine's quite tight. Maybe I've changed a setting somewhere and I don't know about it.
Or maybe I have. How's everybody else? Maybe it's my settings. Has everybody else got a large mark when they press hard?
Yes.
Like in
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it might be in your brush properties. Do
Brush
you know
properties.
Yeah, you may have to reset it. So if I show, do you know how to reset it to back to normal settings?
No, but that would
Okay.
be, I'm in Brush Studio. Is that where I go?
Yeah, so everyone else, don't mind this, you can watch, but this is a bit advanced. I'm just going to show this just for Josephine. We'll go over this another time. But if you double click like Oliver did before.
Yeah, got there. Yep.
Yeah. If you go to about this brush.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Reset.
Oh, reset. Okay. Yeah. Reset. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to erase. So before we go and do anything else, let's get a nice clean page. So again, I'm showing you all the manual stuff. I'm not showing you all these fancy shortcuts because we're going to treat, this course as an organic, painting and drawing course. So we're going to go over to this brush here, which is the eraser brush. So you can click on eraser, and that brings up the exact same utilities cupboard with all the shelves of everything we have. And because I'm using a certain brush, like a round brush, I want a round brush to erase it. So I don't know what it is on yours, but I'm going to click on painting if it's not already like that. And I'm going to go again to the round brush. Well, I double clicked, it gets to that screen, but don't worry about the screen yet. Okay, now when I tap here, it should erase. So I've made that the largest, so it can erase.
Rose?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, maybe when I click on the same button, I get brushing or painting. Maybe, yeah, it should. Okay, got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Rose, mine's not working. I'm not able to erase it. When I'm in Brush Studio.
Yeah. So the brush studio library, painting.
Yes, and I've got round brush.
Yeah.
And if I just click on the screen.
Is it at the largest up here?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right. Is it working now?
Mine's at the largest, but it's like
No,
literally faint. It's not rubbing out.
Yeah, mine's
Okay.
not rubbing out either.
The bottom of this area, is that right at the top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go again. This one here, we're not going to go into it yet, but I'm just going to click on it. Do you have one, like two, one that says layer 1 and one that says background color?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's not that. I'll just do it again. So hang on, I'll just get mine into what yours will probably look like that. Okay, I'm going to go to eraser, painting, round brush, and checking that this slider is all the way up. The bottom, oops. The bottom slider is also, and then erase. It could be, see how I'm erasing, but it's not taking anything off. And as I press harder, it erases. Could it be that?
No, it's not working.
You got to press harder. That's what I found.
Oh yes, I pressed it. It's working now.
Because we're being too gentle.
Yes. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, things like that happen. So there'll be all these questions and you're like, and it's just usually something like that. So we're just going to erase everything off there. Okay, now we're going to go and draw something there again. Let's go draw with, I guess, let's click on spectra. So that's in the painting library. So make sure you in your brushes. We're still in painting, but we're going to try another brush and we're going to try spectra. Oops. So there it is, spectra. Same color, don't worry about the color yet. And we're going to go draw something. So see how you get all these lovely, interesting effects. So just do a scribble. Okay, so once you have a scribble there, we're going to go to this other brush here, which is the smudge tool. Smudge tool, click on that, should bring up the exact same files. And you want to go back to painting again and grab the, so this, you can move this up and down like this. Just go to that same brush. So choose spectra And once you've chosen that, put it on the page. And you may not see anything like mine because I've just realized it's made my brush smaller. So I'm just going to go make that larger. And I'm just going to go over it, and it's changed it. So just checking to see that yours has done the same thing. So has anyone did that work for everyone? It just changed it. You may not know what happened, but it changed it. So I'll explain what it is. So it's a smudge brush. So imagine if you got your finger and on your actual painting with that spectra tool, you smudged it. It's the same thing with Procreate. And because when I click on it, you can see that's the shape of my brush. So I'll keep clicking. Can you all see that? And do that with your own. And that's telling you the actual size of the brush. And it smudged whatever I had there with that size brush and that tool. But to get a probably clearer picture of it, if you kind of make that a little bit smaller, and you can see the size of the brush as you bring it smaller. So I'm going to bring mine to about that size. And now I'm going to dip my brush into this paint that's here and smudge it out. Do you see that? That is the purpose of the smudge brush. And I start within an already painted surface because I'm literally taking my finger and smudging that wet paint out. And it only smudges as to what it would in real life. Do you see that happening? So is that happening for everybody? Yeah.
Rose,
So yes.
Sorry, Rose, Oliver.
Yeah.
I can actually when I use a finger instead of a pen, it does the same. It does smudge.
Yeah.
And also when you have your pen on the screen, there is a marking area where you smudge. It doesn't show up on mine. The marking of the area.
Oh, okay. Have you used your iPad before?
Not for this purpose, no.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
when you click on it, see when you put your pen on it, there's a square, there's a marking.
Yeah.
I don't have it on mine.
So you are missing this.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. That's okay for this lesson, but may actually in the break. So break's coming up soon. It's something to do with your settings.
Thank you.
In your computer. So I'll check your settings. Has anybody else? Has everybody else got this mark? Is anybody else missing it?
Yeah, I'm missing it.
You're missing it? Okay. Well, after the break, we'll come back and we'll do that for you. We'll get that all set up. But it goes into your preferences, and I don't want to mess anything up. So I'll go through that after we've done a few more things together after break. So just have a play with that. And really, that is all Procreate is. So it's like a virtual canvas, virtual cupboard of utilities, any color, there's heaps of colors, any kind of equipment that you want that you can put on a canvas, we have here. Okay, so again, you can get the same brush and go and erase all that. And for the next few minutes, I just want you to play with that, just those 3 brushes manually. And if you want to change the color, we'll go into this a lot more later. Just click, see this little button up here? That's the color palette. And we want to go right to the end. So even if it looks like this, it's got all these little looks, you want to go down here to the disc. So just make sure everybody's got that. Has anyone had trouble with getting to the disc?
Sorry, Rose, could you remind me how to erase all that again? I've still got color on my page.
No, I'll just put something there. So these three buttons, all we have to worry about. So we have brush, smudge, because you can see the fingers there to smudge, and eraser. So it's this eraser one.
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. And if you want to change your color, let's go up to your color palette here. And down here, there's a list of things that will change. So you want to go to the one, just the little circle that says disk. And you should have an image like this. These colors may be different on yours than mine, but as long as you've got this up here, you can move the outer button to get your hue, which is your pure color. And there is a little button in here that you can get different shades of that color. So you can see as I move this, do you see the color is changing? So it is that yellow, but mixed with a bit of, gray, bit of white. So that changes, and that's how you get that color of that. So have play changing the color and using your tool and changing, if you want, your brushes, your brush size. So got a few minutes before break, have play, and please ask me questions or let me know if things aren't working. Just have a quick play, check out a few brushes. And when we come back from the break, I'll get you guys that don't have that little marker around your brush point to get that fixed for you. Any discoveries or questions anyone wants to ask me? Just shout out through. We'll just keep playing till 10:45, so another 5 minutes. Go and, test out what are all your brushes, change the sizes, change the colors, have a nice old play.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you set up a canvas, can you change the size of it later?
You can make it smaller, but I'm thinking of printing. If you make it bigger when there's already artwork on there, visually it look good, but if it was printed, it wouldn't be as good quality or on the screen.
Change it.
Yeah. So you got to start. Yeah. So if this is going to be, if it's more than a sketch, it's something that's going to be presented on screen or printed, you won't get as good quality if you make it bigger.
Yeah.
Because the pixels of the actual artwork will stay the same, but the paper would be bigger. So even if you blew it up, those pixels will stay, pixelated. I don't know if anybody has tried it yet, but my favorite brush is actually called Turpentine, and it's in the painting gallery. And I mostly use this brush all the time. So it's called Turpentine for my work when I do those totally digital paintings, like that painting I did of the woman, because when you use it, it actually imitates and really is like oil paint. There's one brush here there that is called oil paint, but I don't use it much. It doesn't really work for me, but this turpentine brush I really love. And that's what we'll be using when we come from the break and actually start making some artwork. And another trick I like to do is when I go and move the palette, I kind of find a medium tone of the original color that I've used, and I just change it slightly to often complement the other color that's there, because that's one thing that I get asked a lot. How do I make my palette? I either change the colors drastically or just a little bit, just to show different shades of it. So that kind of khaki color, I've moved it slightly and it's now orange. Because they're close together on the color wheel, you get really nice effects. Now we'll take a break now.
Yep, looks like everyone's here. So grab your cup of tea. What I'm going to do is just turn my screen black, just for me. Just so when you're watching this on YouTube, this is where the juicy part begins. So this is where it gets a bit exciting and we actually do an artwork. So you're all back. So just for those who don't get that mark when you're doing something, so I'll just choose a color. So those of you that don't get this mark coming up and down or here, actually I changed mine, sorry, give me a sec. That don't get this boundary mark. Okay, anyone that's just come back, I've just made the screen black so this comes up on when you're scrolling through YouTube and you want to get to the good bit. It's just black to, you know, as a marker that you can see on the screen. So this little thing here, so those who want it, that don't have it, it is here. So you go to this thing here. So we're not even anywhere near this area yet to learn. We're going to click on what looks like a spanner tool. So it's on the spanner tool and we're going to go to preferences, which is the second icon last. And mine's blue now. Yeah, so by clicking on any, it brings its menu up. So we want to go to preferences, click on that. Now it's blue, which means it's on, and it comes up with this screen. So just making sure you all have this screen. Yeah. And this is where all your preferences are. I usually don't take people here because once you mess up something, it's hard to get it, restarted as to what it was as factory settings. But if you come down and you go to brush cursor. So you all have brush cursor?
Yes.
Yeah. If we click on that, it turns it off. So if yours is already off, you want to click it so it's blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now when you click out of the screen, test it and see that it comes up.
Yes.
So you don't have to, but I'm just going to go back down to preferences, brush cursor, and I'm going to turn it off. So there may be times, see, it's not coming up. It's just that there may be times when it's getting in the way of a artwork that you're doing, or there may be times that you want it. But that's where it is. Up in that spanner tool, preferences, and it's called brush cursor. I'll turn mine back on. And there it is. So that's okay with everyone?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, hi, Brian. I just saw you there.
Hello.
Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
What time did you get in?
I was sent 2 invitations and I went into the wrong one stupidly. So I was about half an hour late.
Oh, sorry. Well,
That's right.
What was I doing when you came up? Came in, were we still
you it was before you started on the practical stuff. You were talking about how you sell your art as digital or actual art.
Okay. Oh, well, welcome. Well, since we're all back, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm semi-retired and I'm a wannabe artist.
No, once you start doing something creative, you're an artist. Everybody is an artist.
Oh, well, I hope I'll live up to that.
Have you had any prior painting or artistic?
I have lately been doing some painting with acrylics.
Oh, okay, fun. All right.
Yeah.
Have you ever used Procreate before?
I've had Procreate a long time, and I've tried to do some YouTube tutorials, but I really haven't found it very useful. So I thought I would sign up for this course and do something more intensive.
Okay, good. Well, we as you can see, we are starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
So for everyone, so some it might be too fast or too slow. Is it how's the pace for everyone? Is there anyone that's finding it too fast or too slow? Let me know. Send me a chat or an email, and we'll see how we go. But please let me know how the course is going for you. If you're having any problems, I'd like to fix them, before we go any further. And thanks, Kirsten. I got your question about the printer. I'll send that to you later because it's got a special number, but I don't know off my head, but I will send you the printing information of what I have. So how I make my prints. I have my own printer. So probably about 500, not more than 1,000. So, well, it depends on the quality that you want. My quality is good enough. It's probably a lot better than a lot of prints out there that get sold on Etsy and stuff like that. Mine's museum, I'll send you one that's museum quality. And I'd say it's about $500 to get a decent one. So I'll put that, I'll email in the email that I send you about the link to this class. I'll email you the printer that I use and also the paper. Printer and paper. Email to class. And yeah, so now's the juicy area. So all I wanted to show you, just to start off with, we will be covering everything, but we'll start off in an organic way. So you don't have to go and memorize all these buttons. We'll try and teach you certain things so we're constantly using it So you'll find, oh yes, I remember that one we've been using a lot. And those constant brushes, constant, little icons here are the brush tool, the smudge tool, eraser tool. I'm just going to introduce you to another tool. So if you want, let's get that eraser and clear whatever you've got. Don't mind what I'm doing. I have something that probably looks different than yours, but as long as you have a clear page. Okay, so let's go and draw something on that clear page. Doesn't matter what it is, what brush you've used, just as long as there's something there. Okay, you got something on. We know all about the eraser tool and why we had gone back and chosen the same eraser tool as we use for brush. So in brushes, you can see.
Sorry, Rose.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Now it's all about now that we've turned that marking thing on. When I put my pen on the iPad, I don't get any paintings, any brush paintings, only that mark.
Oh, it could be maybe you've gone to white, or this here is all the way down. Have a look. Is your little color up here, is it white?
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I got you. Yep. Yep. So I got.
Trust me, I know all these things that happen. So if you get stuck, just yell out, and it's probably something simple like that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No, all right. So everybody's got a mark on there. So just explaining why I've done that, why I've gone back and used the same tool to erase. So eraser, I'm on the brush tool as well that I painted in. I'm going to erase that. It's just because you don't have to copy along. I'll just show you. If you, for instance, you see down here, I'm just going to choose damp brush tool. And I go and use it. If I go and erase it with that round brush tool, it's not very organic, is it? So that's why, for me personally, I go and erase in the same tool that I've painted or drawn with. So I'm going to go and change the eraser tool to the damp brush. And when I erase, see how it erases like you would. You're kind of virtually erasing what you have already put there, but in the same marks as how you put it there in the first place. So see the difference? So that looks a lot better, doesn't it? And you may find that it doesn't erase on first go. Well, again, it's mimicking what would happen in real life. So I have to go press harder or erase a lot more for it to completely go. So that's a really, useful thing about Procreate, very important. I just got another message, I'll just check. Thanks, Kirsten. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you was, so we know this tool. Down here, we've seen this other little marker. And what that is for is opacity. So I can make it 100%. Oops. I'll just go back to drawing. So see that? It's still pressure sensitive, but when I've taken the opacity right up, it can get even darker sometimes. And now I'm pressing lighter, that opacity, that pressure sensitive of the pen still works. But if I go and bring that opacity down, oh, that one still works. Some tools this works and doesn't work for, depending on what that tool is. So maybe gouache, I'll just check with gouache. So that is 100%. That is half. There we go. That displays it really well. So see, I can make it transparent by bringing the opacity down. And no matter how hard I press, that when I press really hard, that is always going to be the opacity that it is. And what you'll find is some tools this works for. So with watercolor, it's a paint that you can mix with water, and by mixing a lot more water in it, it's going to spread out the paint and make it less opaque. That happens in real life. So if it happens in real life like that, that you can actually make that paint or pencil lighter, this will work. But in other cases, when I was working with, what was I working with? I was working with the charcoal, which is in charcoals. It didn't work because when you think of it, charcoal, you can use your pressure sensitivity on your pen to change the opacity of it, but charcoal itself can't be mixed with water and then painted on. It probably can be, but this computer doesn't work with charcoal that way. The Procreate and iPad works with it in a digital way. So if that sounded confusing or you're not sure what I explained, just ask me, is there something that you need to be clear of with that, or did that make sense? Make sense?
It makes sense, Rose, but my issue is I don't have damp brush.
Oh, let me have a look. It could be, it's in painting.
Anyway.
So are you all missing damp brush? You might be, because I just realized, you see this little tick here? That means it's not a real Procreate brush. So all of these brushes are pre-loaded and everyone has exactly the same. But because I use Procreate a lot, there are even more brushes that exist in the world of Procreate and digital art. So this little tick here, this Procreate sign, shows that I've actually imported this brush from somewhere else. So it isn't a real Procreate brush. It's real, but it's not an original. I've imported it. So we'll do that in another lesson when we do watercolors, because there aren't really decent watercolor brushes here. We will import it.
Okay.
So we're okay with this little tool here? Okay. And the other tool I want to show you, which is just under here. So if you have something on your canvas, just press it a couple of times, and this is the rewind button. So see how things are disappearing? So we don't always have to use the eraser. We have the rewind and forward. And as you press them, you'll see them come back. So just making sure that's working for everyone. Yeah? So you can use those. There are more ways to do it, but as I said, I'm going to teach you the manual way. And I want to get you to a stage where you've done the course and you're confident enough to go onto YouTube, search for Procreate, how do you erase a page or whatever you want to do, and know enough that you can follow that online tutorial for free. Okay, so that's the other one I want to teach you. Okay, so what we can do is just go back so till we have a blank page where you can erase it. And have you all successfully just got a blank page? Okay, this is the page that we've used the whole time. We haven't changed it. We've just used it over and over again with erasing. So if you've done something, so let's say you've made a mark and you want to stop, put it away for later, all you have to do, it will automatically save, is click on gallery. So let's click on gallery. And it should be here in your gallery file. Yep. We want to continue working on it rather than making a new one. So let's click on it. And it should come back. Once you've put it into the gallery and brought it back, these tools will not work anymore, which is the forward and back, the rewind, so on, because you've lost that history. So anything you've done before then, it's gone. Okay, so just remember that. You can't press those to go back. Now, what we're going to do is learn, why I hope you know, because it was in the prerequisites of doing this course, is downloading a photo onto your iPhoto. So an image from the net onto your iPhoto. So pending how you go home, if you have the little button or the little swipe up, swipe and go home to your main page. And we want to get onto the internet. So do you all have access to the internet via your iPad? Let's go onto the internet. And we're going to go to that lady we looked at, Parama Studio. So it's Parama, P-A-R-I-M-A-S Studio. Oh, sorry, probably confused you. Parama, P-A-R-I-M-A studio.com. So we all on that? And let's go to Shop by Prints, which is just below. Most popular prints. And let's choose one for today. Let's get something reasonably simple. I quite like this one at the top. Oh, maybe that's a bit too hard. Oh, well, we can kind of... Too many to choose from. They're also pretty colors. I'm trying to get a nice color palette. Look, let's go to Emmy. Emmy is a few down. So let's go to Emmy. So see if we can get this one. So see this one? We're just going to click on it. So we're going to make a forgery of this. So once you go, see if you can click it again so you get the whole image. So I'm taking you through the process. If I was a forger and I don't want to copy this, it's just an exercise to take you through a painting. We're going to make our own painting today. And once I have that image, however you do it, I want to save it into my iPhoto. I usually press on the image. Sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know why. I'm not that technical. But if it works for you to download it that way, or I just take a screenshot. So whatever's worked for you. So me taking a screenshot, it automatically goes to my iPhoto. So is anyone unsure how to get this into their iPhoto library?
Hi, Rose, Oliver, just double checking you're recording this.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Because I've often had to do a 3-hour class 2 times because I forgot to record it. Now let's go back to check that is in iPhoto. So this is an iPhoto. I have this photo. You all have your photo in iPhoto? Yeah? Okay. So we can get back into our Procreate program. And now we're going to import that back into Procreate so we have it on our actual canvas as a reference. So what we do is we go into that spanner tool we've used before. Now, all of these things I'm going to show you, we're going to do them together because these are all new things we're going to learn. But as we keep doing the same kind of projects over and over again, you'll get them. So the only thing you have to concentrate on today is knowing those three important tools: the brush, the smudge, and the eraser. Everything else you'll get used to. So don't worry, you don't have to, try and remember all these new tools today. It's the process, it's what we do, how we set up the painting is the most important. This will come. So again, we've gone to the spanner tool and we want to go down to add. So it might still be on preferences. You want to go to add. And once you're there, you want to go to insert a photo, which is the second on the list. And that should bring up a screen with all of the photos in your iPhoto library. You click on the one that we just imported, and that should automatically come up. So has that not worked for anybody? We're all good? Now I'm going to put the tip of my pen on a little blue dot that you should have and make that change size. Okay, so what this little line means is that that is live. That is something that is working right now, because there's a few things on the screen. There's this image and there's something behind it that I've already drawn there. So they are two separate images. And to turn that image off and say, yes, that's imported at the size that I want. So you can move it around, click on it, move it around, make it bigger or smaller. This green button here, you can change the rotation. Has that worked for everyone?
Yep.
So try and make it as big as you can.
How do you do the rotation?
Yeah, the rotation, if you see the box, there's a blue dots around the corners, and the blue dot at the top, it's connected to a green dot, and you can move that.
How did you, mine doesn't rotate.
Just try it again. Have you got the green dot there?
Oh, you rotate a green dot. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Sorry.
Sorry, was I saying blue? The green dot. So just making sure that works for everyone. So I'd like to get this, and I'd like to get it at its highest resolution. So I'm just going to make it, and you can use your hand as well. I'm going to make it as big as I can so it's nice and clear, it's not pixelated. And because it, here it is again, I've made it larger than my actual screen. And once I'm happy with the size, that it's nice and clear on my page, I'm just going to click this blue arrow again. Or if you can still see the bounding box, just click within it or anywhere around it. Actually, I'll make that clearer. So here it is. I can move it like that. And once I want to leave it and go, this is okay, I can either click. I don't know why that's not working. It usually clicks, or I go back to that blue dot. So was that clear? Yeah. So by clicking on that blue dot, I can go back to making it live and do whatever I want with it. And I'm turning it off. So it's live. Now I'm then going to go and click on this box here. This is the layer box. And what I have here is an inserted image. So I've inserted that image and layer 1, which is that layer that I had there. So the little drawing that I did, little markup, and you can't see the layers together. So for instance, it's a sheet of paper and we've just brought in this new sheet of paper. So the paper underneath, you can go here and we can see it by turning off, by unclicking that layer on top. Now, is that working for everyone? Yeah. Okay, so that's good. That is what a layer is. So we'll be doing layers and layers, but that is what a layer is. You can go in and change the name of the layer. So by clicking just where the writing is, where it says inserted image, we get a little screen like this. And we can go to rename. So I'll do that again. Click in the blue box, inserted image, it should say on yours, and we have a little column here, and you can go to rename, and that'll bring up the opportunity to change the name here. So I'm going to change it to reference. I'm done, so I'm just going to click anywhere, and that sets it in. So is that good for everyone? And the layer that you can see is always going to be the layer on top. So I can touch this lightly and you can see how it kind of goes boom. It reacts to it. Once it has that reaction, I can put that underneath or on top. So have a go at putting it underneath the original layer there. And that's just by touching it, waiting for it to expand a little like that, holding on and then moving. So let's try and put that reference layer underneath. And now we can see that the original layer we started with is now on top. That's why we can see the two. Do you understand? Is everyone comfortable with that concept? Yeah, we all get it. So we can put as many layers as we want there. We can go back and import an image, and that will be another layer. So then we'd have 3 layers. So we'd have 3 boxes here. Actually, let's go do it. Let's go back to the spanner tool. We want to add. We want to insert a photo. So this is why iPhoto is so important. You grab any reference or things that you need that you want to play with, even photos of your own artwork. Let's go and insert any other photo. And there it is. It should be there and it should be alive. So knowing it's alive is when you have all those dots going around it. And to tell Procreate, yes, I want to work on this. I'm happy with it. I just want to change the size or do something with it first. I'm going to click the arrow dot to say I'm keeping it. Now it's there. And when you look at your layers, you should see it there. So the image that you bring in will go to the top of the image you used last. So I'll explain that later, but as long as it's there, let's bring that image to the top. So you've got your image at the top. We don't really need that image. So make sure it's blue, because blue means that's the image that you're working with. And we want to swipe right to left And then we have these options here. We want to delete it. And it'll delete. Okay. And perhaps the reference, so the reference image we have, we want 2 or 3. We want to do something with it. Just make sure it's blue. So click on the blue. Right to left. We now want to duplicate it. So you can press duplicate. And now there's 2 of them. But we only need 1. So let's go and delete 1 again by swiping left to right. Oops. Oh, you notice that moved. So just be careful. Just left to right and delete. So we had a bit of play with layers. So we'll do this again. Every time we'll have the same process. You'll get used to this. And we want a nice clean page. So we'll turn that reference layer off and we'll have that page that we started with. It's dirty. I've decided too lazy to use these to clean it up. I can just go, click it on it so it's blue, make sure it's on, swipe again, delete. But I still need a layer to paint on. So I'm just going to go plus, and that brings me a fresh layer. So I'm going to turn that back on, turn that reference. So see, I still have that reference. I'm going to turn it off, and there's a fresh new layer up the top. So is that working with everyone? Yep. Well, you guys are good. Please stop me anytime that you need to. So just again, making sure we're all comfortable with knowing what the layer is. So we can turn off layers. Well, there's nothing on this layer, so it doesn't make a difference. It's just a white piece of paper. And this is the second layer that we've brought in as a reference. So we want to have that reference and the paper on at the same time. So I can click on it. So I want to click on my reference, but make it small. I want to put it up in the top corner, and I want to see my whole canvas. So I'm going to make it about that size. So I've got some space around it. So I've clicked on that reference layer. It's on. I can see it. Now I want to make it alive again. So I'm going to go back to that blue button, shrink it with my finger or however you want, and place it up here. Make it a little bit bigger and turn it off. So if you can get to that stage, if anybody wants me to walk them through that, just let me know. Okay, so now we can enlarge and make it small. So we're going to try and replicate this painting. So we'll do this today. And, for homework, if you want, I'd love you to do it, do one yourself. So we're just going to use this one just as a practice to copy. So the first thing we're going to do, let's look at it. So for me, because I know about painting, I've experienced before, this is easy for me. But for those who have not painted at all, this is exactly how you would paint. So we've got our blank canvas. Where do we start? So the first thing I think about is I hate painting on a white canvas. It makes me nervous and I freak out. So it's always useful to have something there. Okay, so we're talking about this as if it's real. What I find easy is to put on color, because I'm not afraid to paint on something that's already there, but I freak out if something's white. I'm scared of making it dirty. That's the first reason why I want to put color. The second reason is the paint. So let's pretend this is an oil painting. Putting oil straight onto canvas is fine, But look, there are a lot of debates about this. People say you need a base of paint first, or you can paint directly on canvas. I think it's nice to paint with a base, and that base is in acrylic colors, because to me it's kind of like the glue. You have your canvas and then you put a bit of acrylic paint, and that makes your oil paint attach a lot better to your canvas. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm not just painting straight on a plastic piece of paper. I'm putting like a priming coat, you know, like you prime your walls, you prime your nails when you paint them, you prime your foundation. That acrylic paint is just like a primer. So, and do you know the difference between acrylic paints and oil paints? So acrylic paint, think of the word acrylic, that's plastic. So think of acrylic paint as plastic paint, and it really is, because paint to start with is just powdery color. So imagine, you know, someone scraping a red stone and they're getting that red powder. And then you mix it with something like water and it makes it liquidy. And that's some kind of like, you know, rock paint. It's held together by that water. But when we talk of acrylic, we're thinking, imagine that rock, that red rock. Let's mix that with something that's going to set hard. And acrylic paint, that's plastic. Plastic is setting hard. It comes out clear, it's liquid. You can mix your stone, you know, red in it, and it will dry. So that's basically the easiest term I have for acrylic paint. And that plastic, you know, that glue, you can mix glue with that. I mean, so that's glue, you can mix water with that. So to make it stronger in color, you can put the glue there to hold it all together. Or what you can do is put some glue and some water. So when you put water in that, it kind of dilutes everything and it becomes lighter and more transparent. That's the basis of acrylic paint. So you can get transparency or you can get full-blown opaque color just by mixing some water in. And when that dries, the water evaporates and that colored rock that we, you know, crunched up is still there with the glue, and that's going to stick. So that's acrylic paint. Oil paint is pretty much the same thing, but with that rock that you scraped and made into a powder, you mix it with oil. So think of your oil, like the olive oil that you use. It's just like that. You're mixing that you know, soft powdery substance with a type of liquid, and that liquid is linseed oil, but let's imagine it just with your cooking oil. You can imagine and visually look and see what that's like. And when that dries, so the oil will dry and it's embedded all of that paint. So that's how acrylic paint works. And you can't mix water in that. So if you mix water, you know what they say, water and oil don't mix, you'll get the bubbling. So you never mix acrylic paints with water. You can mix other substance like turps with it to spread it out, or you can mix more oil in. So you can get the same effect as acrylic, but they're two totally different things. You can't intermix them together because remember, one is plastic, one is oil. But you can put them in the same painting. You can put the acrylic first, okay, because that's plastic based. And then you can put oil on top. You cannot do the other way, because if you put the oil paint as the base of your painting, that oil takes so much longer to dry than an acrylic paint. Because you can imagine it, how if you just spread some oil on your, you know, on your canvas, leave it a few days, it'll dry. You do that with your plastic water-based acrylic paint, that's going to dry in 5 minutes. So by doing it that way, by putting your acrylics on top of your oil, it's not going to work because that acrylic layer is going to dry and leave that oil paint underneath. So that's just, you know, I'll give you these tidbits about painting so that you can, this course is designed so you can repeat this in actual real life. So does that explanation of oil paint and acrylic paint make sense? Any questions?
Can I ask one question? So if you left the oil paint to dry and then put the acrylic on, would the acrylic stick, or is it the textures that the acrylic falls off?
It's more of the drying time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's because that acrylic paint will dry instantly, whereas the oils won't dry. So you know how in those old paintings, masters paintings, there's crackling?
Yes.
You'll get crackling on top.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of like putting a primer underneath. The surface is still plastic, but I'll explain it later, but I'll give you information as it becomes relevant. So it may ask, I just don't want to give you too much in the one day. And as I said, you'll be exhausted at the end of it. So let's put acrylics as a base for color. And as you know, we just want to get something on there fast that'll dry and something for the oil paint to adhere to. So let's go into our drawing box, or our big chest with all of this equipment. Let's go and get some acrylic paint. Let's get a color that's kind of like, if you squint your eyes, what's the main color at me? I just want something that's going to go with everything on there. You're probably not going to see a color, but it's going to be a base. I reckon it would be something like, I don't want it too dark, but I want it dark enough so I can see it. I reckon this kind of color here that we've all got. Now I can cheat. I'm going to show you how to cheat just to make this easy, and I'll show you the more formal process later. I'm going to press this button here. See that little button? Now somewhere on your screen, a circle like this should come up. If you don't have it, just press it again. Does everyone have that little circle? Yeah. I'm going to move it. And as you can see, it's kind of like a magnifying glass. I'm going to go to the white area. And I'm going to go to this red area. So what it is called a color picker. On the bottom should be white. And on the top should be a copy of the color that you're pointing to. So let's move it around this area and let's get that kind of neutral color. So once it's on there, lift up, and here should be the color that you chose. So we can click on it. That's the color that we chose. And as a painter, I can see, oh, I got that color from an orange. So if I were to paint that in real life, I'd probably start with an orange, mix in white and a little black. So I've got that orange. It's loaded up on my pen. Okay, so see how easy that was? So again, this is a cheat just to make it easy for our first painting. Now, what kind of brush? Let's go to our brushes. I want a kind of loose acrylic brush. So I'm going to go to painting. And let's have a look. What do we got here? These are all kind of dense. Go through. Actually, look, here is acrylic. Okay, and I've got two acrylics. So one acrylic, if you look closely at that brush, it's kind of all aligned, nice and neat. And then we've got the acrylic brush, sorry, the wet acrylic brush. It looks kind of messy. So we want to paint nice and organic. Let's choose the messy. So you can choose either, but I'm just taking you through how I would create this painting. I'm going to choose wet acrylic. And then tap. Now I'm going to try that brush. Yours could probably be any size. but I'm going to clear that, go back, because you want to spread it all on this here, nice and messy and nice and loose, and not so that it's going to interfere too much with your, the painting that we're going to do on top. So I'm going to imagine I'm using a very big brush, and I'm going to go to 100% and test. Yeah, that's pretty good. I want to make sure also that I'm on the paint layer, because remember we have the reference, and look, I've accidentally done it on the reference. I don't want that. I want to be painting on the plain layer here. Mine says layer 2. So I'm just going to go back, rewind, blank. So this one's now got nothing on it except for what we have here. I want to go back to my layer, click, and rename that paint. Then click back in. So just making sure we all have this together. We have your reference layer, which has nothing on it. And we've got our little thumbnail here. And we have our paint layer, which was the plain piece of canvas that we had put in by clicking on there. And that is turned on, and the reference is turned on. So just checking all those things. So it's the paint layer we want to paint on. So we've clicked on that and changed the name to paint. We've got the color that we want, which was the kind of average color of all of this. And we've got the paintbrush, wet acrylic, and we just want some color on there. So we're going to use a nice big brush as we would do in real life. And we're just going to scribble that paint on. So you can see mine, because when I've made a mark and then I've gone over again. So just like in real life, it's the more paint you put on it, the darker it's going to be. So have we all done that?
Sorry, Rose, I just can't get that paint on. I'm clicking.
It could be that you're not pressing hard enough. So try, because it's a very light color that we chose. So I've got quite a heavy touch. So it could be you've got a very light touch. And just check all the markers. So make sure that the opacity is up, the brush is up, you have the right color, and that you are on the layer that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all there?
Yes.
Yeah, is that making marks now?
No, it just comes up with a little circular squidgy thing. So I've gone to the button where the circle is.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the same color as I have?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the color is right. Let's check the brushes. So your brush is in the painting drawer and you've chosen acrylic.
Yes.
Yeah. Now let's check. The brush is all the way up. It's about 100%.
Mm-hmm. And
the opaque, I mean, not the opaque, the, oh yes, the opacity, can never say that word. Opacity is right at 100%.
Yes.
Okay, so put you're coming up with that little mark.
Yes.
Yeah, press it really hard. It's still not working?
It's still not working.
It could be, is your brush, so sometimes if you've been using this or you've walked away, it could disconnect. So try placing it back into your iPad so you can see it's connected, my little sign that came up. So it's connected. Put it there for a couple of seconds and pick it back up. And now try it again. Oh, I just thought of something else. Is it still not working?
Oh, no.
Okay, what it could be is click on your color.
Yeah.
So this is good for everyone else because this sometimes happens. Check to see that that little circle has the same color in it.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure what that is because everything's going correct. And you've only just started on Procreate. You haven't changed anything or?
No.
No. Okay, look, I'll get back to it when the rest of the class starts. Let's just try making the color a little bit darker. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Have you tried screwing the top of the pencil back on? Because sometimes I find it unscrews and then it doesn't work. And then if I screw it back on, it makes it work again. I don't know, just a thought.
No. Good point, because that's happened to me before. So see?
I also find that sometimes the paintbrush just skips back randomly to eraser.
It could be your pen because sometimes like you can have a pen that's set up to do like, you know how you right click on a mouse, there's some kind of right click on this.
Oh yeah.
I've what's the word? I've turned all my settings off on the pen, so all it does is just draw. So it could be something like that. You have to go into your actual Apple Pen preferences.
Right.
So how are you going, Camille? Did you try a darker color?
I'll try a darker color. No, unfortunately, it's not working.
That's weird because we've tried everything. It should be working, which maybe means that it's hardware. So it's actually something to do with your iPad, but it would definitely not be anything Procreate because we've gone through everything and it should be working. So you can, we'll go ahead. There'll be the video, but try and see what's happening. The actually other thing we could just check is just check again your layers. So make sure there's a layer on top and that's ticked and blue.
Yes.
Yeah, and you have the reference layer underneath.
And the background color, yes.
And there's no other layer?
No.
It should just have background color at the back, which is why. All right. Well, that one, I'm not sure what's going on. So, but yeah, see what you can do, but you can follow the video again. And when everyone's working, I'll try and work that out with you. So yeah, so we had a blank canvas. Now we've got a bit of paint there. And I usually just go over just so it's totally random. So imagine we're doing this in real life. It's got a bit of color there. I'm not so scared of wrecking it because it's already wrecked. There's already paint. And you notice because I've painted over here, I can't really see this layer. So I'm going to bring that right to the top. So it's the top layer. Nothing's covering it. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to follow what she's done. She's got this lovely kind of rose color. Let's go grab that. So you can use this tool again to grab that color, or you can use your finger. Hold it down and press, and that should do it. So I'm going to hold it down and press. And you can see up here, now I have that, that color. So once you kind of got that color, we're going to build it up because it's not going to instantly look like here. We have to build the color up. So I'm still sticking with my acrylics because again, acrylics are very fast drying. So in real life, if this was an oil paint, I'd have to paint and paint and paint and wait for each layer to dry before I continue. So for underneath, we're going to build up this structure of paint layers. And we're going to need a few of those layers to make it, nice and opaque like that. We're going to keep using acrylics. So I'm going to go back. Keep with my acrylic paint. Keep with my acrylic brush. And I'm going to look at the size. So how big is that paintbrush? So how wide? looks like, you know, that's the size of the paintbrush. How wide is that compared to the rest of my canvas? Let's have a test. I'd say that's too wide. Go back and make my brush a little bit smaller. I think that's too small. I'll go back a little bit bigger. I think that's a good size. For me, I'm on 58%. So I'm not sure what yours will be. I'll just test it a bit. So this you can't do in real life, test it and erase, but test it on another piece of paper if you've got that around in real life. And I'm just gonna, you know, I'm not trying to copy her exactly. Just gonna scribble on about where it is. Could be anywhere that you want. And then you notice, because this is acrylic, it looks like it has a bit of water on it. You can see the more I go over, the more opaque it gets till it's absolutely opaque. So has everybody got that mark there? Let's do it a few times. But what we want to keep is this nice texture. You see how there's difference in color and texture? We want to keep it nice and fresh like that. And a good way to get it, oh, I got sticky fingers, it wasn't working. So look at this. We got color that way. Now look at it again. Notice how I took my pen off the canvas and I did it separately. That's how you would paint in real life. You wouldn't just go like that because you'd lose paint, or you know, there'd be less paint. That's not happens in real life. You have to pick up paint from your palette, but here it does it for us. So our next marks, we want to just kind of make them organic like that. You can go back and redo it. So once we got that, it's just about continuing what's there. So let's go to somewhere else with a different color. Here's that yellow. Let's get the kind of yellow ochre color. And again, check the brush size. What brush size do you think she's used? I reckon she's used the same brush. So let's go and paint that area. And again, keep your strokes organic. Maybe she's used a slightly smaller brush. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. But again, keep it organic. And you see how when I've put the yellow, it's gone over that pink and it's kind of given us that a third color. Sticky fingers. So once you got that, let's try something. So has everybody got the same kind of image as me?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
We want to keep
Yeah, I forgot how do you when you touch that that color.
Yeah.
How do you
to get the color?
to get the color?
Okay, so you go to the colors that you want.
Yeah.
You can either hold on to it and wait. Sometimes it's a bit difficult. So just touch it and it pops up like that. And you can hold on to it and move it around.
Oh, you can't. I can do it with my finger, but when I touch it with the pen, it doesn't give me the circle.
It should. Just tap it lightly. Have a try.
It gives me the marking instead the irregular edges marking instead of a circle.
I'm not sure what you mean. So it doesn't give you this circle when you tap here?
When I touch it with my finger, it gives me the circle.
Yeah.
When I touch it with my pen, you know the special marking that you taught us how to do, the irregular edge marking?
Yeah, it gives you that.
Yeah, it gives me that. And also it come up with a big area of the same color, but very patchy.
It might be, are you sure you're not clicking on this tool here?
It's
It's
no.
definitely this square.
Let's see. Click on that.
Yeah, this square.
Yeah, the pen doesn't give me the circle.
Ah.
Oh, okay. Now it can. Now I can.
Yeah.
Now I can do my pen. Yep.
Yeah, because you might have been clicking, you know, this one here. It's the little square. But if it works with your finger, just do it with your finger. You'll naturally choose one that works with you.
Yeah. Okay. Got the color. Yep.
All right.
Thank
so we
you.
got the pink, we got the yellow, and we noticed that it works exactly as it would in real life. It's painted over it and it's made another color, which is the color that it should make when you are actually painting. So because we're doing this all on, remember, the one layer, we can now do things like go to the smudge tool. So in real life, imagine that these are both kind of wet. We want to smudge the colors together. We can then go to smudge and go back up to the paint that we're using, which was the wet acrylic, and get the same size brush as you used before. And you can smudge those together. See how it's smudging a lot more smoother? And you can even smudge out of it. So have a try of that. Have a play. Doesn't matter if you mess it up. We can rewind. So has that worked for everyone? Yeah. So once you have play with that, let's go back to where we started this smudgy thing. So go back. So it hasn't been smudged yet. And we're going to go back even further so that that yellow mark is not there. We're going to keep going back. And go back to just the pink. So we all at the pink? Yeah. Now what we can do is play with our layers. So let's just say the acrylic's dried. We don't want that kind of blending effect. We want the color to be just that color, just that color. We don't want it to make another color on the pink. We can go and put another layer, because this is what would happen with acrylic paints. By the time you've painted that pink, it's already dried, because remember, it dries really fast. So that means that this is dry. That's dry. Nothing's going to mix with that. That's turned hard. It's gone by the time we put our next color on. So what we can do is put another layer. Okay, I'll demonstrate, so this will become clear in a few seconds. I've put another layer. It's got nothing to do with this layer. So I just added that layer on. It says layer 3. I might just go and rename that to, it's a yellow. It's the yellow color. Click out of it. Make sure it's on. Now I'm then going to go back to my yellow color. It's yellow. Sorry, I've got such sticky fingers today. And I'm going to go paint on that. Okay, so that's one layer. That's another layer. Imagine that layer is dry. I can then click it on and click it off. And when I go back to my smudge tool, it will only smudge the yellow. So do you see the use of the way to use layers? So see, it's not smudging because that pink layer is already dry in our imaginations, in our real life. So that is a feature. Oops. That is a feature that is really handy. So for those who've had some painting experience, you can do that. Does that make sense with the layers and the smudge tool?
Rose, I had the same problem as Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
I can't select my circle anymore. I don't know if anyone else has that problem.
It could, like, the main reason I honestly think it is, it's the iPads are very sensitive, and I don't know who am I talking to? Sorry, I can't see. Is that who's?
It was Fatima.
Oh, hi Fatima. Sorry.
Yeah.
It could just be a touch sensitive thing if you haven't used Procreate in a while, like maybe you're not pressing hard enough or like that. But if it's still a problem, you know, I'm not sure what it is, because it should work. Like, it's Procreate. Like, I haven't made this. We've all downloaded the same version. So just work with it. Let me know if you still have that problem, you know, next week when we work. But that's all I can do. And just use your finger for next time. But what we're going to do, let's do this all on the one layer to start with, but that's just something to, some information about how you would use layers. So let's delete that and let's continue working how we were working before. So we're all still on the paint layer. It's just a matter of going in, getting that color, and then placing it on your palette. Remember to be interesting with your brush strokes. You know, we don't want just things like that. We want you to take it off the canvas and showing some texture. And you see a lot of that texture by pressing lightly or having only one brush stroke there. But as you put more brush strokes, you kind of lose that. So keep it nice with different textures. So we'll continue this. There's one here of the yellow. Some yellow down here. A bit of yellow. So are we all comfortable doing this, building it up like this? Anyone having any troubles? Okay. What else have we got? We got a bit of black. So we'll do white last. So try everything. Try getting all those colors in. And try as much as you can to, you know, vary your pressure of your pencil, your pen. Even if it looks different, because you can see there's white smudges here, just put those colors in. Those colors are the most important.
Rose, just to let you know, I got it to work.
Oh, good. Yeah, see that, don't worry, it happens all the time. It's usually something like that. And I suspect soon that little, this little square that's been not working for Fatima and Oliver will start working soon.
Yeah, it worked with my finger. I don't know why. So
Yeah.
I flicked it.
Oliver, how are you going?
I'm good.
Yeah?
All good.
All right. So we're going good for time. We got another 10 minutes left. So if you need to stop because yours is looking like mine, you stop or keep going. Is anyone having troubles where theirs is not working at all? No? This is good. You're all doing really well, especially the beginners, because we wouldn't have got, well, we'd hoped to get this far, but in last lessons, we haven't got this far. So this is exactly where we need to be. How are we going? Has anybody got a lot to do, or you're almost there? Because I might just stop you. Is there any, so are you guys all kind of close to finishing? Yeah. All right, we'll stop you there and we'll just start this just so I can show you, because I don't want to miss out on this important bit. So looking at your picture here and looking at our reference, we've got kind of all the marks. It's still not looking the same. I said, don't do the white. If you have, it doesn't matter. But let's do the white. But let's do the white on a different layer. So let's add a layer in. So this will change the colors and paint on it, but you won't be able to smudge. So let's just put the white. So we'll go white. Oh, let's get white from here. Same brush, same kind of nice big size, but we are on a different layer. So here's layer 3. Make sure that one is blue. And let's go kind of put that white in. What I might do is I'm going to turn off my reference because it's in the way. You can do that too. Move it out of the way and turn it back on when you need it again. So be a bit loose with your white because it may end up covering a lot of space. So just a little as I've done. It shouldn't be too hard or too thick. Not too hard, too thick. Too hard, a bit more transparent. So with the white that you've put on there, let's all stop and have a look. So you see these lovely marks here. That's what really makes this painting. So this is looking at hers. Look at all these lovely marks here. That's what really makes this painting something special. So because that's something that's really important, I wanted to do it on a separate layer because I thought, again, I really want those nice marks. What I can do with that white layer, do you see the N? Click on the N. And then you get all these strange things under here. What I want to do with that white is I want to make it so it's watery. I want to make it transparent and softer. So I can get this little button here that says max, and I can lessen that transparency. So if yours is looking a bit more like this, I'll just fast forward as an example. If yours is looking really blocky like that, to fade it back, you can use that N and fade back the opacity. So I've just put more layers in. I'm just going to delete it to darken it. But we want it like this so we can see some soft pieces. So has anybody had to use that opacity trick there? Yeah? So get it to a stage where it's nice and soft and transparent like that. Some of you may need it, some of it you may not.
Rose,
Yeah.
how do you call up a really bright white? Bright white, that's coming. But for you now, you just double click around 2 o'clock on 11 o'clock on any palette, and that will bring up the bright white. Okay.
So we'll go through the different colors next week. So any white will do. And okay, so we should all have our reference layer, our white layer, and our paint layer. So I knew that would happen with the white layer. I knew some people will have it too opaque. So that's why I did the layer. So, you know, it's another thing. It gives you choices. So I'm happy with that. I want to say, yep, happy with that. So I'm going to click on that layer. So I'm going to click on that white layer, and that brings up the same column where you can rename. And I'm going to go to combine down. So this white layer here, I'm going to combine it with the paint layer. So I'm going to press that. But the layer that you want to combine have to be together. So you have to go, so these two I want to combine. I'm going to go to layer 3 because it's the top one, and I'm going to combine it with the one underneath. So I just press combine down. Oops. Open there. Combine down. Oh, why has it done that? Sorry, just give me a sec.
Mine's doing that too.
Yeah.
Is it merge down?
Ah, yes, it is. Sorry. So you click on it and merge down, not combine down. So click the merge down.
Rose, I'm still wondering how you did that scratch your white mark. How do you the transparency or something you call it?
Yeah.
I couldn't get that.
That's okay. I'll just go back. So have you combined it down yet?
No, not yet. No.
Okay.
I was just watching.
So you click on the N, make sure the layer is blue. So, and then click on the N. So you clicked on the N. Have you got similar to what I have here?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to click this scroll bar.
Yeah.
And as you bring it, oops. As you bring it down, it should see how it's coming in and out.
Yeah.
That's the opacity. So as you pull it down, it gets thinner and thinner until you can't see it.
So at what level did you do that scratch mark?
Oh, you can do it at any level, just so that the white is a bit transparent, so you can see marks like this one here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. That's why I'm asking.
So you got that now? It worked for you?
Let's see. Let me go back then. Okay, I've set it up. Sorry, I've set it to down to say 26 opacity, and then I go back to the pen. Is it to the draw?
Yeah.
And then I got white. I got white color.
Yeah. Just as long as the white fades a little bit.
Yeah. Let me see. It's not putting the white color on. Got the wet acrylic pen. Now, the color set's white, but it's not bringing it on.
Well, I'll just move on.
Yep,
You
go
might
on,
have,
go on.
yeah, watch the video and
Yeah.
just go back by there. But I'll just finish this so that we can
Yep.
move on.
Yep.
All right. So the last thing I did was I merged. I'll do it again. I'll just go back. So it's on video. Click on the layer I want to merge the next layer down and merge down. So now you can see the white is now with the original painted layer. And what I can use now, this brush, and they'll all work together. They'll all intermix. So just checking everything's on the one layer. I can take off that reference. So I got what's on there, all of my paint. And by merging it, I'm imagining they're all still wet. They all can interact with each other. I'm going to click on smudge. Same tool. I might make it, I might make it a little bit smaller just to test it. Yep, that works. It's smudging. But I want to go to the turpentine tool, which is what I say is the oil tool. And what we can do with that oil tool, let's test it again. Great. So it should be smudging like that. I want to go back and I want to get my oil tool. So we're now using oils to go and smudge it. So depending on how big your brush marks are, I'm going to go do some crazy things here. So I'm just going crazy. I'm not even looking at the reference. We can put it there, but I'm just going to experiment and just pretend that I've got an oil brush. This is now in oils. And just kind of give it a smudge. So I can see that's black underneath, but I'm going to smudge this light color over it. So it won't look exactly the same, but you're going to get that nice kind of painterly effect. And that is, so this is today's painting. So you can copy it so it's exact, but that's how you get those nice fresh marks over it.
Right, mine accidentally, I don't know how I did it, but I've got new group. How did I do that? I was trying to cut mine down, but it says new group.
Oh, okay. Just keep rewinding. So can you rewind until you get to where you were before that happened? You may have to rewind a bit.
I did the same, but when I rewind, it comes to a point where I can't go back any further and new group is still sitting there.
Oh, okay. Well, if I'll just put a group here. Okay, so if you have something like this, so you probably have a new group. Yeah. Just delete that. Delete the one that you don't want. And it will still say new group. But don't worry about that, because I want you to do this all again in your own time. Okay, you can play with this one. So your first one would be a little bit hard, but when you go and do this again in your own time, I want you to use all of those techniques that I've showed you. So using the layers, changing the colors, but I want you to go a little bit further. So all of those things that I've told you with using the layers, changing the colors, it doesn't have to stop here after the smudge. You can go back to your colors with a paintbrush and then paint over it again. You can use the acrylic brush. You can change your brush to the turpentine brush. So see all the different textures I'm making? but it's all based on the same kind of color palette and this idea of just layers on top or making new layers and just playing around with those most important tools, the brush, the smudge, and the erase. And if you want layers to do those certain tricks. And the important brushes that I've used were the turpentine, which give you this really kind of scrapey look, or the watercolor, not watercolor, sorry, acrylic, wet acrylic. Some yellow. And just by that, you'll get a similar kind of feel. And sometimes you may feel, I want to smudge here. You can do that. So it doesn't have to be in the order that I did it. It's just you utilizing how to choose your color, making marks with different brushes, smudging them, not smudging them, and having a good old play with it. Do you think you can continue? And yeah, and you can do this with anything. It's important for you now to just have a play using these 3 important brushes up top. So in the future, we might do a version of this next week, but that's what the course is. It's about taking kind of typical paintings and showing you the tools, how to make them in real life and also on the iPad. So this is more of an abstract piece. Maybe next week we'll do this again, but just to practice this technique. And you can find any imagery that you want. You can, bring in your own ideas or actually make your abstract paintings. But that's what we will concentrate on next week. We'll go into this in more detail. But yeah. So how do you think you all went?
Very good. Thanks, Ross.
Good? Yeah? So these brushes up here and, these brushes here. We'll go through all this and we'll make more kind of extravagant paintings as we learn more how to do it. So any questions before we go?
Yeah, I have a general question. On my iPad, I've got a black desktop background, which I don't like. How do I change that?
I think that's in the preferences where we went before. So go to your spanner tool right up the top. And then we want to go to preferences.
Yep.
Here it is. So see how I have light interface?
Yep.
Change that, that goes black. So will be that one. So,
yeah, thank you.
It's all right. Is there any other problems people have with the hardware, software like that you want to change? Because I noticed here they have right hand interface. So is anybody left-handed? Okay, so you may want to change that to left hand. So that means that your tools, this little bar is on this side. Brush cursor was that little outline of the brush. And that's it. Okay, so thank you for coming to today's classes. Look, if you don't have time, that's fine. You can, just as long as you have a play. But, it could take me a few hours, it could take me a few minutes till I get to a stage like that. And that is exactly in real life. These paintings look so beautiful and fresh because it's just layers and layers and layers of paint on top of each other. Some you mix wet, some you look dry, but yeah, have fun.
Rose, can I just ask with the Zoom link, because I had trouble with my Zoom link this morning as well, is it the same each week or will we be sent a new Zoom link for each class?
I think it's the same.
Using the same Zoom link.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure because they set it up for me. But yeah, you can try the same link. If it doesn't work, just email me. Oh, and before I go, has everybody got my email address? I sent them an email. I sent you all an email.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right, well, that's the end of the lesson. I'll send you all an email either today or tomorrow at the latest with this link on it, and see how much practice you can do and just have fun and have a play.
Great.
Lovely
Thank
to meet
you.
you all.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.